guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. So today we're going to be talking about the new Tarte Holiday Palette. This one is exclusive to Ulta. It's the Tarte Magic Star Collector Set. It will run you $49. You can get it at Ulta stores, on their website, or on Tarte.com. It does come with like everything that you need. You open it up here and it kind of comes into a star or a square depending on like how you're holding it. But I'm gonna pull back here so you can see everything. You're getting 25 eyeshadows, 2 blushes, a highlighter, a bronzer, a mini mascara, mini eyeliner, mini matte lip paint, and then also a mini glossy lip paint. Most of the products in this kit are made in China, but the matte lip paint is made in the US. It's assembled in the US, and then the mascara and the lip gloss are made in Italy. I know that that's a big concern for a lot of people because Tarte kind of historically has lower quality eyeshadows at the holiday time because they're kind of mass produced in China. That's not to say that just having something produced in China automatically makes it bad, but typically with like Tarte and Too Faced, they do a lot of mass production in China for the holiday palettes, and the quality just doesn't seem to be the same. Unfortunately, that seems to be the case with this palette. The palette that is exclusive to Sephora, I didn't pick up, but I did look at the back of it, and that one is made in the USA, and it has the chocolate or like vanilla scent that the typical formula has, so I think that one just right off the bat may be of better quality than this one. So let's go ahead and just jump into the palette so I can kind of show you what I mean in terms of the quality, or at least talk about what I mean, because these do actually swatch pretty well, but we'll get into it. Okay, so the first one here is Magical, Euphoria, Festival, Joyous, and Genie. As you can see, this white shade like doesn't show up. Now I am really fair, but I just find that the light shades, especially the light matte shades in Tarte palettes, tend to be just not very pigmented, and that is the case with this one. These are very nice shades. I will say that as far as the quality in terms of like lasting power in general, with every look that I've done, they've lasted probably a good 12 hours before they really start to fade. So I do think that the lasting power is good, but overall I think that they look a lot better in swatches than they do on the eyes. They just kind of lose some of their intensity when you put them on the eyes. Okay, here is the next row. And again, you can barely see this first shade. This is a light, creamy, peachy sort of a color, and that is called Paradise. And then we have Starry, Majestic, Gems, and Fringe. Majestic and Gems, these two shades are some of the strongest in the palette. I do actually really like those, but again, I feel like they don't go on the eyes quite as vibrant or intense as they swatch, even if you're using your finger, which is how I usually apply any shimmery shade, no matter the quality of the palette. Here is the next row. We have Sweets, Treasured, Bengal, Indulgence, and Goblet. So this is a really fun shade. It's like a purple with sort of a gold shift to it. And then this is a really good purple shade, which is kind of surprising, especially in a palette like this that is typically of lower quality. It's just really pretty. I'm actually wearing it on the outer V today. It kind of blends out into more of a gray color, but you can pack it onto the lid and get a really deep purple shade. So it's a very nice color. This shade right here looks absolutely gorgeous in the swatch, but like when I put it on my lid, it just kind of falls everywhere. It's a pretty chunky shade, and it's not my favorite. You can use it with a glitter glue with a little more success, but it's kind of too much work for me. These two middle shades were really disappointing to me. I tried to use them, you know, as transitions, and they just didn't give me what I wanted. This shade again is gorgeous, but it loses, all of these kind of lose some of the intensity once you put them on your eyes. So for the fourth row, we have Wander, Palatial, Brooch, Dessert, and Sublime. So those are the shades. Once again, these lighter shades are just not showing up really well, not super pigmented. I really want this shade to be more pigmented. I think it would be gorgeous if it were more pigmented. Also Palatial. I feel like I really have to pack that one onto the lid. This shade here, this brooch shade, is absolutely gorgeous. I love this shade. It's one of my favorites in the palette. I am wearing it all over my eyes today. Sorry, this one is actually Sublime, and this one is Dessert. This black shade just fades into a very light gray when you put it on the eyes, and then this Dessert shade, it's one of the more pigmented mattes, but it's still not fantastic. Here is the last kind of gray-blue row. Sorry, these are like all slanted. We have Pendant, first one, Getaway, Tassel, Antique, and Lavish. Obviously, once again, this first light, you know, this is like a stark white shade, really doesn't show up very well, not very well pigmented. This Getaway shade would be my favorite taupe if it didn't take like 5 times to, you know, dip into your brush and put it, you know, into your crease. Like, you just really have to build that one up. This blue shade Tassel looks really pretty in a swatch, but I feel like it just kind of falls short on the pigment once you put it on your lids. And then Antique was a pretty weak, kind of a chalkier shade. And then this last one, Lavish, is kind of the same way. So overall, as far as the eyeshadows are concerned, I think you can get some very beautiful wearable looks. I really do like how they have laid out the eyeshadows. You can get like a very nice, like, complete look out of each row. Tarte always does such a good job with that. I think this is a good palette, especially for like first-time users or people who are new to makeup, just because it's just really easy to put a look together. You've got your warm tones, you've got your like purpley pinks, and then you have some cool tones at the bottom. So I really do appreciate how they did that. However, I'm not super impressed with the quality of the shadows. I actually liked last year's kit better. I hated the packaging, which is why I ended up decluttering that one, but I loved the shadows last year, and these are just really overall kind of disappointing to me. And I'm someone who usually is not that disappointed by Tarte holiday palettes. This one is like, it called to me. The colors like called to me. I loved it how it was laid out. I love the packaging, but I'm not super impressed by the shadows. So now let's go ahead and go into the cheek products. So we don't have names on these, but you get 2 peachy blushes. The first one is a shimmer. The second one here is a matte. And then you also have a highlighter and a bronzer. Love the cheek products, love them. They're very soft, pigmented, they build up really beautifully. The bronzer is a little bit warm, like I can't use it as a contour shade, but it is very pretty as a bronzer. I'm looking a little bit red, actually probably a lot red right now because I'm just really hot when I sit in front of the window, even when it's not hot outside to film. I just get really hot and red. I have rosacea, so you know, I think some of that is showing through, but I am wearing the matte blush, the highlighter, and the bronzer today, and I really, really like those products. The highlighter looks really pretty when you first put it on, and I put this on like maybe 2 hours ago, but it's already kind of fading, and you know, by the middle of the day, all you'll have is glitter left on your face. So I'm not super impressed with the highlighter, but I do like the other cheek products. Okay, next let's go ahead and talk about the little extras that you get. So first, the glossy lip paint. I love this. Love it, love it, love it, love it. This is in the shade Myth. It's a beautiful like peachy pink, and I am wearing it on my lips today. That is what it looks like in a swatch. And then we have the matte lip paint in the shade Castle. Castle is a very like gray-based nude. It's a pretty color. It's not my favorite kind of color to wear, and I don't like the formula. I'm just really not a drying lip type of person, you know, like a matte lip person. I don't know how their regular formula is, but this one is super, super drying. My lips just kind of shriveled up after I put this on. Like first it's like sticky, and then it does dry completely, and it's transfer proof, which is nice, but like my lips just did not look pretty with this on. So yeah, I did not like that product. And that's actually the only product that's made in the USA besides the packaging. And then as for the mascara, this is actually really growing on me. It does lengthen your lashes, and I appreciate that, but the wand is very like sharp and pokey. And then the last thing is going to be the liner. So this is their like Sex Kitten liner, which is just like a gel eyeliner crayon, one of those twist up types. And this is actually not bad. It doesn't completely stay in my waterline, but the only thing that will completely stay in my waterline is the Marc Jacobs eyeliners. Those do not budge at all on me. There is the Sex Kitten eyeliner. But this is really nice for just kind of smudging on the upper lash line. And I did put it on my lower outer lash line, but it's gonna smudge within like about 4 hours. I think I just have really oily like outer corners or something. But it is a pretty decent eyeliner. Overall, I do think that this palette is a good value for the amount of product that you're getting. You can really put together an entire look with this palette. So all I have on my face today is this palette, foundation, and then brows. And you actually can do your brows with this. It just takes forever. I didn't do that today because I didn't want to take the time, but you can potentially do your brows if you can find a color in here that matches. But yeah, I mean, I think for that reason, like this is something that you could take traveling. Like if you go on a lot of last minute trips, or if if you travel a lot, I think this is just a really easy way to travel, because you've got everything in here. All you have to do is throw this in a makeup bag with your like whatever your complexion product is, face foundation or BB cream or whatever, and some brushes, and you're like good to go. So I do really like that kind of all-in-one factor about it. And like I said, I think the lasting power of these products is really good. However, it doesn't excite me. Like getting this palette out, I've recently picked up a lot of holiday palettes. And this one, I'm just like, okay, I gotta use this because I need to know how it performs, but I don't want to use it anymore. But I wanted to make sure that I use like all of the shadows in here. It doesn't excite me. So if you have like a lot of makeup like I do, I wouldn't say that you can get any incredibly unique looks out of this that you wouldn't be able to get with whatever other palettes are in your collection. So it's not a bad palette, but it's not a great palette. If you don't have a lot of makeup, if you're wanting to buy this for someone who is new to makeup, who doesn't have maybe a lot of high-end makeup, and you want to try some things from Tarte, this might be a good way to do it, but just know that the shadows are not going to perform the same way that their regular line does. So overall, it's a decent palette, but I wouldn't purchase it again. I hope that you found this review helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.